Hey Brick Maniacs, welcome back to another Friday Sit Rep. We got a lot of great stuff in the pipeline, including a rather unexpected minifigure, so let's take a closer look. All right, we're kicking things off with the P-40 Warhawk from the 332nd Fighter Group. This is a Andrea model, but Brendan was our project manager, so he's going to tell us a little bit more about Brickmania's newest P-40, which is one that I think, we've had a couple in stock for a while, so it's about time that we've seen a new design, and I think people are going to dig the colors.
Yeah, so we've got, as you can see, we've got kind of this more African, Turanian kind of camouflage going on with this one. So that works really well, whether you're thinking of invading Italy or Tobruk. So,
right, exactly.
That works. You mentioned the 332nd Fighter Group. For those of you who are not initiated in that, that is also known as the Tuskegee Airmen. So it's the first all-colored, all-black squadron to fly with the Air Force in World War II, and that's a big deal. It's a really huge deal. Which is actually part of why we have this big red spinner on here. Ridiculously huge, but trust me, that's how big it is. It's stupidly huge. And we also have, if you can kind of see here, we've got these yellow stripes that go up and down the wing. Those actually denote the particular squadron of the airmen.
Very cool.
That this was a part of. I can't remember the exact squadron numbers, but there was like yellow, white, black, stuff like that. And the yellow is the most distinguished, more noticeable, or remembered by most people. So we went with that. Already got some stickers on here. So you've got this really cool tail sticker, I thought. That you go from your yellow, and then in the white it transitions to a much more vibrant black, and then back to the yellow once it's back on the main model. You'll have your underwing stars and bars, and we'll have another one on the top wing printed there.
Obviously, it'll come with a pilot.
Right, exactly. We're getting a pilot in there as well, and to match the nature, because as it is Black History Month, we are actual Tuskegee Airmen.
Awesome.
We're not jerks, Going to get some awesome nose art that we picked out to fit right here on the side.
Very
cool. On either side, you'll see that, and I think you guys are going to like it. Yeah, altogether, this is.
Looks like we got a little brick-built payload underneath there too.
Oh yeah, and we've got the drop tank. I almost forgot about that sitting under here. So that's a nice little play feature. Got wheels that fully turn and retract pretty much perfectly into this little groove he's made. So
nice.
I appreciate that personally.
Can see by the way you're swinging it around, it's got a pretty sturdy composition to it. Does the things the fighters should do. Exactly.
You always want. You either go for something that looks the part or something that functions, and I think he's gone for both here.
Nice.
That works well enough. Yeah, really slick model. These things, if you know anything about my talk on the P-39, for example, this is a similar idea where you've got a pre-war, this is actually pre-war fighters, so these are the things that would be around, say, during Pearl Harbor. When that happened, you've got these things on the ground, and they're basically an upgrade from an even earlier model. P-36 Hawk goes from the Pratt & Whitney Twin Wasp to an Allison engine, initially supercharged, but it just took up way too much space, kind of like the P-39, and so it can't really fight anything that's going above like 15,000, 20,000 feet. But that means it's perfectly suited for places like North Africa, Russia, for example, and over in the Pacific, because there's not a lot of strategic bombing going on there. You've got a lot of very particular targets you need to get at, and that means you can't be sitting up in those high altitudes. You need to see what you're bombing.
Right.
And that means that these things can get high enough and actively engage in the combat, which is why they actually had a fairly decent record in North Africa, both with the Tuskegee Airmen and I suppose Tuskegee Airmen weren't necessarily in North Africa.
Correct.
But,
the P-40 served well in that theater.
In that theater, in the Mediterranean, all of that, it did its job well, or well enough. It's not the fighter we wanted, but it's definitely one we needed.
Right, exactly. It played its part.
And then once we got into P-51s, P-47s, stuff like that, you're seeing a lot more, even higher kill rates with more quality planes. But this is the one that we got, and it's the one that we made the most out of. So.
And definitely an important historical turning point in its own right, and then also in relation to the Black History Month. So there you have it, the P-40 Warhawk, available on pre-order right now on brickmania.com. Brennan, thanks for checking in. All right, so moving on from there, we're checking in with Mary Wilson, taking a closer look at the S-75 Divina, which is kind of an interesting build because it looks like there's a lot going on here, but not exactly a lot of surface area. So can we dive into some of the composition here?
Yeah, for sure. Let me just change this angle.
Yeah.
Just to start, like you can pose this and aim it in
Cool.
2 different ways. So this bottom portion turns, and you also can adjust that so
Nice.
it goes up and down. Yeah, there really are a lot of details packed in here. It's a very interesting, I mean, one of the most interesting shaped builds that I've
No
worked
kidding.
on, like in comparison to like a tank or the plane or even like a boat. It's just it's very skinny.
Yeah, right. It's a rocket and its launcher. I mean,
Yeah.
quite literally.
You also can remove the rocket itself. Oops, if I don't tear it apart. And so just to give you a good look at this, basically it's symmetrical on all sides. It's a really solid build. It makes use of kind of an illegal technique where you put 2 clips in between 2 plates, and then you can get them at perpendicular to each other.
Sure.
So that's for all of the fins going up and down, and then up here, like there's another technically illegal technique where it's just like you put the plate straight up in between 2 plates facing each other, if you can see that. So that's kind of fun, like because it's such a small surface and like you're really limited with the cylindrical bricks that Lego has. Like, I mean, he had to be creative in making this, so I mean the legal technique like works just fine.
Yeah, plus the other guys can put limits on creativity. We
Yeah,
don't do
right?
that here.
Like it doesn't actually matter. So along with this, there are 2 prints which you might not be able to see just from here because they're in these little hatches. So on either side, these hatches open, and then the print is
Oh,
in there.
cool, yeah.
And then Slam found some of those details. I mean, it was very difficult to find because it's
I
like, why
bet.
would the inside of this ever be on the internet? But there was like 1 picture, and Slam found it. So those are accurate details in there.
Nice.
Actually, so this whole thing would actually like open up in different panels, but this is one of like the larger panels. So we thought it would be worth it to include that.
Definitely adds to the mock potential too. If you're
Yeah,
gonna
for
do a fire-based mock or whatever.
And also, so when the missile is launching, like this actually comes apart.
Oh, cool.
So that is intentional. I didn't just break that. Also, yeah, so there's all these little details, and he did such a great job with getting the different, like the curvature and just like all these little details on here, just because it is just so small. I was very impressed with the way he got all the angles in there, and then the functionality, of course, which is always fun.
Yeah.
To play with. Again, like this is one of those like desk defense guys, so it doesn't come with a minifig, but that's because you can pose it and play with it on your
That's
own.
because it's meant for your coworkers.
Yeah, it's meant. This did sit on my desk for quite a while, and people would be like, "Don't face that towards me," which was fun.
No, there's a heck of a projectile, no doubt.
Yes, for sure.
Very, very cool. Well, no pre-order here. This bad boy is available right now on brickmania.com and ready to ship out. Anything else you want to cover?
No, that's about it.
Very cool. Thanks for checking in. All right, and this is kind of our surprise minifig drop going on this Friday. I know a lot of people were really excited about this when we saw the previews. So this is the John Dillinger minifigure, complete with that 1928 perfect caliber brick arms designed by MN Art Girl. Amanda is here with me to talk a little bit more about this guy. Super sharp looking, iconic. I mean, I think people were very surprised and excited to see this drop.
Yeah, it came around and they're like, "Hey, do you have a second to do this?" I'm like, "Yes, yes I do." Could probably, maybe this would help, huh?
It's all good.
And yeah, no, I was excited to. I mean, gangster era is pretty sweet.
We don't get to do suits too terribly often.
No, I don't, and it's okay. It was interesting because it was like, all right, well, it's a suit. What do you do with a suit?
Right.
And so I started doing a lot of research and found, a good amount of pictures of John Dillinger.
Probably not when he was doing too well.
He was not doing well
Yes,
in
in the source
90% of the
imagery,
pictures. It was a little disturbing how dead he was in all of the pictures.
Yes, quite the story behind this guy's life. You'll have to do your own research there, though.
Yeah, right. We've all seen the movie, but so had fun with his tie. He definitely seemed to be kind of that era tie where everyone's got kind of the brighter tie, vest going on. His classic blue suit, which I'm going to say it, but it's probably wrong. It looked like it's one of the things he got arrested in at one point or another. So I was like, let's go with that one. It looked bluish.
Right.
Tried to find some references through the museum, and he also had. If you go to his museum, there's full apparently dioramas of his death.
Oh, nice.
And the autopsy.
Lovely.
Yeah, no, so it was interesting. Yeah, but so I got the tie in there. Slam has the awesome machine gun, obviously, that he perfect calibered up.
And that is included with this figure. You don't have to add it on yourself. We just bundled it right together because obviously iconic.
The typewriter.
The Chicago typewriter, right, exactly.
I was like, that's
awesome.
pretty sweet. So he's wearing a suit. He's got cool shoes. And that's really about what he's got going on there.
Any challenges when when composing the art or getting it to look the way you wanted it to?
I think the fabric, getting just kind of nice fabric movement going, because those suits were pressed in some areas, but very loose in others. And it was tight around the shoulders and loose at the waist. So that was interesting. Kind of playing with what the buttons were and all that jazz. And his face, trying to kind of playing. I'm pretty happy with his likeness. I think it works. It's minifig likeness. But those are probably the two biggest things. Just I played around with his face a lot, trying to get the kind of the right grimace.
Yeah, right. The menacing look that captures also, looking like John Dillinger as well.
Yeah, because he was either smirking, he's I got away with it, or he's
in the middle of it.
So that was fun. And his small little pencil mustache.
Yeah, very, very cool. So, definitely iconic of the era as well there,
too.
Very
much so.
All right, well, an interesting start, and one that I think people are going to be excited to see what it leads to in the future. So the John Dillinger minifig available right now on brickmania.com. Amanda, thanks for checking in.
No problem.
All right, so moving on from there, we have the final variant of our V3 Grunt that has been running throughout the month of January here. So this is the reddish-brown flesh. And once again, some slight differentiations from the previous two ones. So Landon's here. We're going to talk a little bit more about these figures.
That's right. Vietnam era, one of my favorite themes here. So much crazy history. We still have, veterans that are around commonly. Go talk to these people. They're out there.
Absolutely.
So this is just a really interesting era. And the uniforms are equally as interesting. Starting at the top, we got the Mitchell pattern helmet, right? It's a helmet cover. This is just printed on a stock Brick Arms M1 steel pot helmet. In theater, you'll see tons of customization. This is pretty much as basic as it gets. This is an army builder figure that we intended here. So 3 flesh tones. Each week we released a new one. This is our 3rd flesh tone here. And rather than just having the exact same uniform, we actually added some variety again to each different flesh tone here. So this guy, he is featuring the biggest difference between the other 2 versions is that he has a flak jacket on. When you're in the jungle, it seemed like it was kind of hit or miss whether or not you would be wearing a flak jacket. When you're in a vehicle, more common. When you're on base, maybe when you're doing base duty, it seemed a bit more common. But when mobility is a bit more important, it seemed like they wouldn't always have the flak. They wouldn't have the flak jacket as common.
Interesting.
Anyways,
okay.
Yeah. So you'll just see variety. Sometimes they're wearing it, sometimes they're not. He's got the M56 web gear, and that's the butt pack there. 2 canteens. 2 canteens is you'll see at least 2. Usually on these guys, they'll have upwards. I've seen 5 canteens on a guy. So 2 is not too many, right? But simple on the back there. You can see this towel on the peeking through on the top there, and I'll show you on the front there, hanging down. That was just another one of those iconic things I thought of Vietnam era. Sometimes you'll see it tucked underneath their helmet, kind of draped down, maybe protecting the sun.
Featured in lots of source imagery, though.
Oh yeah, tons.
Yeah, cool.
You'll see them using this towel. I think sweat or keeping the bugs out from falling down your neck, right? Gross. And it's the jungle, man. That's just I don't know.
Reality of the situation,
right? We have a grenade tucked there, just kind of on one of the up against that flak jacket. There's a little loop there for that. Pistol belt around the front. On the side, you got on this side you got another grenade. Right. And of course, he's holding that M16 sold separately. Make sure to pick that up. This one's specifically a perfect caliber M16, which it's a subtle thing. I mean, the gun, when you at a glance, it's like a black gun, right? But there's some subtle details. You know, there's plastic furniture on that gun.
Different tones.
Yep. So there's quite a few different tones on here. I'm loving that.
Well, it's kind of one of those, just such an excellent complementary piece when you have such a detailed minifig already. It's almost like when you get a just plain colored brick arm, sometimes it pulls away from the detail a little bit, so it's just nice to add it.
And of course, that M16 pairs perfectly with the ammo pouches. Those are the M56 ammo pouches. Again, that's the 20 round. This is the straight magazine on that M16. So later in the war, they would get those curved magazines, but this was, I mean, you'd see that throughout the whole war pretty much. So. From what I could tell. Wrapping it all up, you have the standard jungle boots, and they're a little bit maybe sun faded, or they're worn out. It's not
lots of walking.
All these guys, like it's the sun would fade their uniforms pretty quick. So, yeah, different gear. This is completing this month's grunt collection. So make sure to pick up all three. Were we restocking the other ones, or are those sold out?
Yeah, well...
How does this work?
Boy, last time I checked the site, I think there were still some available.
There might be some
either
available.
way, the initial release of the crew is complete. We will move forward with restocks in the future, but for now, if you've been paying attention and collecting all month long, you should have the complete squad of the V3 grunts and all of their flesh tones. So now available on brickmania.com. Landon, thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
All right, and finally here, we've got the M102 howitzer, which not a ton to go over here when it comes to printing-wise, but obviously there is some cool play functions when it comes to this breech here, and then it fits in definitely a wide variety of mocks everywhere from Vietnam up to the Middle East, etc. So it was in service for quite a while. Another Andrea build here, really friendly price point and a very mockable piece as well. So that is available as a straight up new release on brickmania.com, the M102 howitzer. All right, that'll just about do it for the Friday Sit Rep. Quick note from me, though, if you are in the Vallejo, California or San Diego, California areas and would like to work for Brickmania, please reach out to us via our careers page because we are definitely looking for people to join in on our endeavors in both of those locations. So please reach out and let us know. That being said, the first week in February, a team from here, and including myself, Dan and a bunch of others, are going to be out in California getting those stores ready to open. So if you notice anything different kind of back here, just know that that's the reason why, because we got a whole bunch of us on the road. So just a heads up in that regard. Otherwise, that will do it for the Friday Sit Rep. Thank you very much for watching.